Morning. It's Tuesday of another week. Yesterday was the Cars and Classics at Needham Market once a month, so I run over there on a Monday morning. It was about 60 cars, I think. It was quite busy. But we do have some problems. The wife rang me to say that, sent me a picture. I'll insert it now. Gearbox fault on the Joy, and the MGF started making some funny noises. Rotational, I think it's sort of a funny squeaking noise and a bit of a grinding. So got back yesterday, plugged the Jag in, and it said EGR fault, transmission signal, and something else. When I googled it, the EGR does flag up gearbox fault lights. I think it puts it in limp mode. So yeah, so we've got to do the EGR on that, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. She's only got to do a little journey today, so she's going to use it today, and I'll bring the Saab home and let her use that, and I'll bring it up here and do the Jag tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is get the Mini off the lift after taking the photos for the eBay ad. I'm going to put the MG on and see what I can find. But this week we're going to do a lot of stuff on the Defender, and I'll show you that in a minute. But first of all, I want to get the MGF in the air. Right, it's on the lift, and I think it's a wheel bearing or the hob nuts come loose, because I'm not going to be able to show you on the video, but there's quite a bit of play like that. No play that way, so it's not in the steering. So it's a wheel bearing. I don't know if I'll be able to hold you tight and just look at the cup move. Don't know if you can see that, you might be able to hear it. So I'll quickly whip the wheel off and just check the hub nut. It's not really making any noise. That's just the brakes making a noise. So yeah, so I'll take the wheel off and we'll have a look at the hub nut. Right, I've just tightened that, but it's just pretty much as tight as it would go anyway, and there's still lots of play. So it's definitely the wheel bearing. It's got to be the hub off to change that. Okay, so on the Defender, I've kind of proved now that the air suspension works. It does what I need to do. It tows okay, it rides okay, it handles okay, unless you're doing slaloms. So time to sort out the air suspension. Now, Discovery 2s come with two types of bags: Dunlop and Contitech, aka Continental. The Dunlop bags will push fit, like the connectors on, the airline connectors I've had that I've replaced are push to connect. So the Dunlop bags have that on the top. The Contitech have a screw-in fitting with an olive. Now, I wanted a set of Contitech bags because I want to upgrade my lines to 6mm, because standard Discoveries have 4mm. So I've run 4mm from my bags to a joiner that converts 4 to 6, and then 6mm up to the switches, etc. I want to run 6 all the way to the bags. So for that, I had to buy some push to fit connectors that screw into an M8 by 1mm thread on the Contitech bags. Now, Contitech bags are twice, sometimes a little bit more, twice the price of Dunlop bags. So I've been searching around trying to find a decent supplier of Contitech bags. Most people I spoke to said they don't do the Contitech anymore, they just do the Dunlop because they're push to fit, and they're about 50 quid each plus VAT. I have found some that do the job. Now, these bags are by a company called Aerosus over there. Aerosus. They have the screw-in fitting, and they're about 70 odd quid each, 75 quid each. I have since bought the fittings, the M6 by 1mm to screw into them that take 6mm air line. So I'm now want to run 6mm from the bags all the way to switches throughout the system. So I've got a set of 4 of those to go on. I've ordered a whole new set of lines So I'm going to run all new lines because, as I say, mine are the original 4mm from the bag, just sort of halfway up the car, then change to 6. Reducers is the word I was looking for, on a reducer push to connect fitting. So what I want to do is try and simplify it and have as little connectors as possible. So I want to run 6mm straight from the bags, straight to the switches, so I haven't got any joiners, reducers, extra joins. So that's what we've got. I now need to jack up obviously the Defender's aired out. So if I unclip the bags off the top of the turrets and then lift the body off with a forklift, I can easily change the bags, and then we'll start pulling the hosing out, and the new hose should be here today or tomorrow, so I can start rerunning it. But I also need to pull the dashboard out so I can get to all the back of the hoses and run them heater pipes at the same time. So 4 of these have arrived from Germany. Let's get cracking. Right, I've aired it up on its current bags just so I can go around and pull off the 2 clips off each bag. So then now when I drop it, air it out again and actually lift the body, the bags will all be loose. So that's the next job. Right, so this is how they came in the Aerosus box, and they have this fitting on the top. Oh, there we go, stand up. Right, and that's held on by a 10mm. So I'll just undo that and show you. It's hard to do it with one hand, but basically that undoes. Right, so you got this valve here. There's a, hang on, if I pull, I've pulled the insert out, hang on, and then there's the insert with the olive to go on the pipe. You put the pipe through the fitting, put the olive on the end of the pipe, and then do it up into the bag, but we don't want to do that. So if I take that out, but I do want this O-ring off, so I'm just going to use a little pick to pull the O-ring off. Right, so I've put my little O-ring on the end of this bit I've got from Advanced Fluid Solutions, and you can see inside the bag it is a threaded metal connector, so it's not a plastic one that's going to round off. So put that in and tighten that up. So anyone who hasn't seen before, they've got a keyway on the bottom there, so they just sit in the housing and twist, and then they're locked in, and then they have the little clips on top for the retainers. So I'm just going to stick this in. I'll quickly show you. Obviously my chassis has been custom made to have the Disco 2 top, so it's got the holes, and I've got the blocks down there with the keyway in. So I'm just going to slot this back in. So temporarily I've run a line from the driver's side rear bag over to a T-piece, a short bit to the passenger bag, and then a Schrader valve on the end, and I've just pumped it up with my airline. So at least, even though, because obviously I haven't got the front lines run yet, it's a lot easier to get to the lines and everything with it lifted. So that's the rear lifted up and at a set pressure for now. I think it's at 67 psi or something. That's where I stopped. So I can leave that now, and I can move on to changing the front bags. I'll have to obviously roll this back against the door and then lift the front to be able to change the bags. So we shall do that now, and I've got another Schrader valve that I will then pump the front ones up with and keep them off the floor. Right, let's get the front done. Right, that's all 4 bags on and just temporary lines and Schrader valves for now. So at least I can get around it and work on the new line runnings. So ideally we'd want them all the same length so they go up and down at the same time, but it's not really viable. Obviously I've got to run a line from over that side all the way around and along up to the bulkhead, and then one just from here to the bulkhead, so it's, you know, 3 foot difference. I do notice before when I was going up and down, one side would go up a bit more than the other at a time, and I'm guessing that's probably why, but I don't know, we can probably live with that. So anyway, they're all pumped up, so I can now get around it. So I think what I'll do is I'll start on the inside, but I'll dump all the air back out so I can get in and out of the truck easier. And then when the new line arrives, I can pump it up and work on it like this. So that's the 4 bags changed. All right, the dash is apart and the heater tubes are run. So I've got it up to that vent, although I have noticed that my cowling is slightly covering the vent, so I'm going to have to trim that some more. Again, that's not the final version yet, so it doesn't matter. So I've got the one up to this vent, and I've got one that goes all the way across the back here and points down under there. It just sticks out by the column. So I've got vents in both footwells and both windscreen ones when I modify that. So next is to sort out this menagerie of all these connectors and try and slim this down and make this a bit bloody better, because I've got one coming off here to there, to out there, to there. So I'm going to see if I can slimline this down a bit. So let's get on with that. Right, so I've pulled all the lines out. The only ones I haven't done are the main tank to feed, or you know, the feed line from the tank. I've left that in situ, which is that one that's on top of the wing there. And I haven't done the PCL fitting one yet, because obviously that's snapped, didn't it, or got a hole in it and ended up leaking. So what I'll probably do is run a longer bit from the PCL and put the joiner just under the wheel arch here, so I can actually get to it. Right, so now I've just got to wait for the line to turn up, and then I can run all replacement ones. So last night, sitting in front of the telly with this on my lap, I changed all the connectors, got them all short with right hands out, and the joins to the actual pipes are going to come straight in here. So by the time it is in this part of the dash, the pipes will come from here and go straight along, so there'll be no tight corners. So hopefully that should alleviate our leak problem at the back. We've got plenty of room here, plenty of room here for where it's going to sit, so we shouldn't have any issues. So that was last night's little job. Now today's. We got the wife's Jag in. As I mentioned, it came up with gearbox fault on the dashboard, and I code read it, and these are the codes. I'll insert them here. As you can see, it says EGR valve and gearbox fault. Now Googling them, it says that when there's an EGR fault, it puts on the gearbox fault because it puts it in limp mode. So we're going to take the EGR off and the inlet manifold and give it a good clean. So first off, we've got to get the cover off. It's just clipped on, but you do have to lift out the dipstick first for it to go through. So that's off, and that is the EGR valve. So next we need to get out is the air box. I'm sure that's probably clipped. Yes, looks like it's clipped in and just pulls out. So we'll get that off in a second. Okay, so that is the EGR valve as I pointed out before. So we've got to undo the 2 bolts on the side. We've got the vacuum pipe to pull off, the bottom intercooler hose, and a couple of plugs, and then the 2 bolts that hold it onto the inlet manifold. So let's get them undone. Okay, she's off. She's a little bit coked up, but I don't know if I can show you this, but everything is moving. The only thing that worries me is whether this bit is here. And that's controlled by the motor at the back. So I've either got to pop the motor off and turn it by hand, or just fill it full of stuff and hope it is. So I'm going to get some brake clean on that and see if I can give it a good clean out. And then we need to get the inlet manifold off and have a look and see if that's all badly coked up. Right, I've got the airway pretty clear. The flap moves nice and freely. The only thing that worries me is this valve here. Now this is controlled by the motor. I've just filled it with brake cleaner and it's not really disappearing. I filled that trough with brake cleaner, it's not really disappearing. Obviously it is now, but when it was upside down it wasn't. So I think I'm going to take the motor apart, take the cover off, and then just see if I can move that by hand, and then we'll see whether that's getting enough movement or not, and we'll know if that's our problem. If that's obviously stuck, then the EGR won't be functioning properly. So we'll quickly pop this cover off and have a look. Right, so that's the cover off. And as you can see, it is a motor turning some gears, which turn the valve. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. Let me try and put that under there. you can see the valve, and if I turn the motor, you can see it moving. So there's no issue with that. That's obviously moving fine, but what I will do is just pull it back and try and clean that housing out a bit. Yeah, try and make that as clean as possible. Right, so to get the inlet manifold, it's a load of 10 mils. I think there's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. The bolts stay in the manifold, so you can undo them without worry. Just make sure they're all loose and then just pull the manifold. I had to unplug, or I've got to unplug that to get it out. And then it sort of comes out. But yeah, as I say, all the bolts stay in there, even these ones here, so you won't lose any when you undo it. So that's that. Right, I've put it back on again because that was pretty clean, to be fair. I did give it a good blasting out, as you can see. So yeah, they have individual gaskets around the ports. Really, I probably should have changed them, but I just cleaned them up and refitted them. To be fair, they didn't come off, they stayed on the manifold, so I just cleaned them all up. So hopefully they'll be all right. So yeah, so now it's just a case of putting it back together, and then we'll try and get the EGR back on, hope for the best. When I changed the interior in this Jag, I completely forgot to change the driver's side door speakers. I thought, while it's here, now we've done that EGR thing, I thought, now's a good time to change it. So I'm gonna put the Alpine one back in. Right, so the wheel bearings turned up for this. So what I need to do is get the hub off, which involves undoing this top nut, undoing the track rod end and the pinch bolt there. And then we can, obviously the caliper as well, and the disc and the spacer, and then we can get the hub off. So first off, caliper, hang it out of the way. No, actually, I'm going to get the spacer off first so I can wedge a screwdriver in there. So spacer first. I've just been and had the new wheel bearing pressed in, so that's done because I haven't got a press obviously. And I noticed that the track rod end is knackered, so I picked up a new one while I was out. So I'm going to quickly change that and then we'll refit the hub. Well, that's all back together. Just been for a quick test drive. No more noises. So I think that's a win for now. So it's the end of Wednesday. Hopefully the bits have turned up for the Defender today at home. So Thursday, tomorrow, I'll be back on that running the lines, hopefully. Right, home time. I think the Saab has done its last job for me. I went and got some wheels, well, tyres taken off some wheels, because these are going to be the first ones on the wall as wheel art, or wall art, shall I say. Beauty of this is they can all be changed later on if need be, but there's two iconic wheels, the Land Rover Modular and the Weller 8-spoke. Next is the Vauxhall Turbo wheel. Anyone who knew me in my late teens, early 20s, I was Vauxhall mad, and everything got 5-stud converted if it wasn't already and had turbo rims. All my Astras, Cavaliers, Novas, no Novas, sorry, Corsas. All got 5-studded. The original TSW Evo, if you don't recognise that, or you're not old enough or whatever, Project RS Kicker from Max Power wore a set of these, and they have been one of my favourite wheels for all of time. And then who doesn't love the RS Turbo wheel? So these are the ones I've managed to get so far off eBay, apart from the Land Rover wheels. Obviously they come on Land Rovers quite regularly. So I've managed to buy the other 3. I am looking out for some more of my certain favourite wheels, including Radius RS6, Radius R6, a Vectra GSI Mark 1 wheel, very similar to the TSW Evo, and an original 16-inch Escort Cosworth wheel, because Cosworth, basically. So yeah, so that's that. Anyway, back on the Saab. It's time to go. It's got to go. I'm going to take it to be cleaned and valeted, and then it's going on eBay. It's going to be a sorry day when this goes, but we need to get the Jag back on the road. We'll be using Defender and the MG. This is a fantastic pull car, but I bought this with the intention of making a few quid on it to help pay the wife's Jag off. So unfortunately, it's got to go. Okay, well, I have done it. It has got all new airbags, it's got all new lines. 6mm front bags to controls. It now drops a lot quicker and it lifts a lot quicker as well, so it's made a good difference. I've also had all them connectors off, the ones that I bought to go in the bags. The O-ring wasn't quite enough, so I used some PTFE tape, and now we're sealed, and it seems to hold pressure a lot longer than it did before. I can drive from home to work without having to lift it, whereas previously I had to lift it every couple of minutes. So yeah, I think we've resolved our problem, so we'll have to see how we get on. We're always going to get a little bit of air leakage. It's always going to drop a little bit, but it's a lot better than it was, so I'm happy with that. Today's job is Friday, and I'm going to be getting the CB in and working. I've got a little amplifier there, just a very small one, just to help. So I'm going to mount that, sort all the wiring out, and job's a good one. I've done the CB, I've put the amplifier in, all wired up, all working as far as I know. I've not had a copy yet, but I'm sure I can go out and find one. So that's done, and the wheels are up for now. Might want to move them around, going to add to it obviously. But yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to call it here for this week. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next week in another video. Thanks guys.